welcome back to the channel. I'm Kat.
I'm Iz,
and we're the Shee sisters.
Today we are at our favorite San Diego course, Madeiras Golf Club, with Claire.
Hello.
We thought we would give 3 tips on how to stop slicing on the course. I think it's really important to note that everyone hits a draw in their own way because golf is such a feel sport. We're going to each play one hole, trying to hit draws with our own way, and hopefully one of those will resonate with you.
So tip number 1 for how to stop slicing the golf ball is all in the setup. So the cool thing about the setup is you have complete control over it. It's not something that happens in the swing where your muscle memory is going to dictate a lot of that. So when you're setting up to stop slicing the golf ball, what you really need to do is square up your shoulders and your hips and your feet. So slicing the golf ball a lot of the time starts in the setup when your shoulders are open and your feet are open as well. So then you'll swing down and left across that path, imparting rightward spin on the golf ball. So what we're gonna do instead is we're going to step into the ball with our feet square to our target line. So we're squaring those up as opposed to having them open. And same thing with our shoulders, we don't want those laying open. We're going to square them up and we're going to swing along our feet and shoulder line now. And that should help as step number 1 to stop slicing the golf ball. So when you're squaring up your stance, if you slice the golf ball, it can be really scary because you know your ball has a tendency to travel right already. So one of the reasons why you open your stance and your shoulders is because you think, well, if I aim more left, then I have more room to slice it. But you're just increasing your tendency there. So what you can do is square up your feet, and even more so is just close them off a little bit more so that you have something to hit against and create more of a draw spin.
Nice.
That's a draw, folks. Throw a shot tracer on that one.
It's the par 5 and Claire is going for it.
Yeah, it's no fun if you don't, right? So it's like 170 to carry that ravine, so it shouldn't be too tough. And obviously, since this is a how to stop slicing it, we're going to do the opposite and we're gonna try and draw all of our shots for you guys to see. So I'm gonna explain how I'm going to hit this draw 3-wood. Hopefully it works out. All right, so I'm gonna walk into it, make sure my shoulders are squared up, and I'm just going to swing along those shoulders. Try and hit it solid.
Ooh, pretty draw.
Thank you.
And you did that all just by closing and squaring your stance and shoulders?
Exactly. So what I feel when I do that is I square it up and I hit against it. So oh my god. Shoot. That. Yay, birdie. So in fact, I found playing a draw on this hole to be even more beneficial because it was a reachable par 5. And as a lot of you might already know, playing a draw adds a little bit more distance to your shots. So it was what I needed to get the ball up in almost makeable distance.
So the way that I like to hit a draw is to focus on my spine angle and my head. Draws are hit with a in to out plane met with a closed club face. So a lot of times people slice because their head goes forward and goes in front of their hips. So they end up cutting across like this. Instead, what I like to imagine is that my hips are gonna go forward, but my spine and my head is gonna stay behind. So that doesn't mean that my head has to stay looking down at the ball. A lot of people do that. Instead, it just means that it rotates like this. So there's still a lot of mobility there, but you will just have more of a spine tilt. At that point, you can feel it just drop under and go through. At the very least, when you are doing that, you might still hit a push if your club face is open. But it won't be a slice where it goes left and then right. So focus. Drop. 1, 2.
So basically don't have your head forward.
Yeah.
Hold your head,
Yeah.
right?
So basically, I want to feel like my head is staying, and then once you hit the ball, you can start to release it. Just like that. This is a bit of a long haul. I hit a great drive, but I still have 190 yards. It's a little downhill, a little downwind. I probably could go with a 5-iron, but I'm gonna go with my 4-iron. So again, how I like to hit a draw is that I imagine that my head stays behind the ball. I also like to incorporate Claire's tip. I like to make sure that my feet and my shoulders are also square or close to the target. Okay, it's drawing towards the hole. Come on. Okay. Right side of the flag. Ooh, nice. One way to make par. On to the next. Gotta say, I think that was one of the hardest holes at Madeiras. Don't quote me on that, but it feels like it. So the girls have an advantage. Oh, and I was right. Look, it's the hardest hole at Madeiras. Heard it. Thank you. All right, the number 3 tip on how to not slice a ball is your club path. So you want to go in to out, and a lot of people, when they slice it, they actually pull to the left and they have an open club face. So when you do this, you can either pull it if your club face is closed, or you can slice it if your club face is open. So what I do on the course is, if this is my target line, I will look on the inside of the ball, preventing me from pulling it out to in. Also, I imagine that there is a rod on top of the ball and I try to go under it. So I'm gonna try to go under it. I don't wanna come over because then I'll hit the rod. I wanna try to come under the rod so I can have that in to out. Find everything that we just learned. I'm gonna close my shoulders, close my legs, close my hips. I'm gonna maintain spine angle throughout the swing. And then lastly, I'm gonna try to swing from in to out. Let's see how that works. Wow. Okay, I wanna start doing that. Hit a pretty good shot. I'm gonna take my 58. Since we are doing this whole draw thing, I'm gonna try to draw my wedge shot, which is kind of difficult because there's not that much room to work with, but let's see if I can do it. I drew it.
You drew it.
I drew it, that's what I said.
You said you drew it.
Whatever. Go! Oh man. Alright. Par from a short ball. Alright folks, that's a wrap.
Those were our top 3 tips on how to stop slicing the golf ball on the course.
Again, it's really just a feel type of game when it comes to this, so go ahead and take whatever works for you. I think it's also important to note that these are quick fixes in a way until you can go to the range and really work on your mechanics.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video.
We'll see you next time. Bye!
We're going to be late.
I get the wine and the corkscrew. You don't have to
Today's
do
video.
one single thing. You don't know how much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole